A Rohingya, Mohammed fled Myanmar nearly 20 years ago. Now living in Chiang Mai, he runs a small roti stand. He makes a meager $10 a day to feed his family of 5. Like many of his fellow Rohingya Muslims, he left because of persecution, but fled well before the recent violence that prompted a spike in the number of migrants. Mohammed left because he attacked undercover soldiers. They were beating his father before they took him to prison. Years later, the incident is still raw.
I never saw my dad again after he came out of prison. I fled to Bangladesh and then India. I came back to Myanmar and then ended up in Thailand.
We're not showing Mohammed's face. His work permit is for construction, not selling roti. But he's better off than the recent arrivals.
Rohingya who came to Thailand 30 years ago can probably work with migrant permits, but the ones who just arrived over the last couple years cannot, as they don't have any documents.
That's because Myanmar's government doesn't recognize the Rohingya. It views them as illegal immigrants from Bangladesh. Chiang Mai has a centuries-old history of Buddhism and is known as being a multicultural community thanks to its location along ancient trade routes. But the Rohingya who've come here recently, fleeing violence and persecution, hide their identity. The KLAN mosque in Chiang Mai was founded over 100 years ago. Its congregation has been growing.
We can't really identify if they are Rohingya. They have told us that they are not Rohingya, but Burmese Muslims.
For safety, Mohammed doesn't tell people his background, as there are many Buddhists from Myanmar living in Chiang Mai. The violence in his former home has been drawn on ethnic and religious lines. He can't go back, but encourages the Rohingya still in Myanmar to stay on.
They should stay and fight, not with guns, but fight with law, and prove that we belong to that country according to our history.
And as Mohammed watches that fight from afar, it will be a difficult one, as Myanmar's government has shown no sign of changing its stance on the Rohingya. Scott Heidler, Al Jazeera, Chiang Mai.